Parkway and Van Sciver have been planted with new plant materials, and mulch has been applied. The yellow baseball fence caps received for installation. Those are the yellow caps that go along the fencing around the different ball fields. Parkway and Van Sciver have been planted with new plant materials and mulch. Was that what I sound like live? The baseball field dugout benches were received, and they are in the process of being assembled. And they are continuing with their grass cutting, landscaping, catch basin repairs. And we did finally receive the new sidearm mower that was ordered in last year's capital budget. Some notable occurrences were related to commercial property dumping, commercial truck parking, and I'm sorry, this is for the inspections department, what they have been working on. We have two inspections officers who have received their 60-day evaluation, have been authorized to begin independent field work. And a few businesses have been identified as operating without proper zoning approvals or valid certificate of occupancies. And the construction official and the zoning officers are actively collaborating to develop a strategy aimed to preventing businesses from opening without those required approvals. So we are going to crack down on people sneaking in the back door and opening their businesses without getting the proper licenses and registrations. One of the bathrooms at the JFK Center has been out of service for over a week, but that is in the process of being repaired. And unfortunately, we experienced some vandalism at our bathrooms at Broido Park. Someone came in with rocks and smashed the ceramics in our men's room. So we're going to be facilitating those repairs as well. And outside of that, recreation will be rescheduling Earth Day events that were rained out. They did celebrate the Phenomenal Woman event on April the 27th. And Ms. Bolden has been in conversation with the Assistant Director of Legacy Treatment Services of Burlington County. They would like to donate a little free library to a Burlington County park and asked if they could donate one to ours. So they would like to have an official ribbon cutting, and they will cover all the expenses, and that's going to be sometime in the early summer. And they would like to, or we were looking to install the little free library at the Broido Park. And those are all of the items that I'm going to present to you this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. All right, and then we can move on to the resolutions overview, and then we'll have your suggestion.
So being presented for your consideration this evening is ordinance number 25-8, which is a bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements in and by the Township of Willingboro, appropriating $3 million therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $2,850,000 in bonds or notes to finance part of the costs. Ordinance number 2025-6 is an ordinance to amend an amended ordinance to establish compensation benefits and other policies for non-union employees, unclassified employees, and elected officials of the Township of Willingboro. We are going to go through our 2025 budget hearing this evening, and then if there are no further issues, we will move towards adoption of the budget after the approval of resolution number 2025-115, which is a resolution authorizing the budget to be read by title. And then hopefully we'll move into resolution 116, which is the final adoption of the municipal budget. Resolution 117 is a resolution authorizing the approval of vouchers for payment and ratification. Resolution 118 is authorizing the refunding of overpayment of taxes. Resolution 119 is a resolution to cancel uncollectible taxes, and Ms. Diggs is here to give you a brief explanation of what an uncollectible tax is. Resolution 120 is a resolution approving final closeout with Earl Asphalt Company for Segment 4 roadway project, Phase 1. This was completed last year, and they have completed the project. The final adjustments to the contract values have been finalized, and they are submitting the maintenance bond, which you are going to hopefully accept and officially declare that project complete. Resolution number 121 is approving change orders number 3 and 4 with Longo Associates for the Willingboro Performing Arts seating. This was seating that we had ordered almost a year ago, but because of delays in the construction, we've had to put off the installation, and this is the final change order for the seats to be delivered in June and installed as well. Resolution number 122 is a resolution authorizing the use of competitive contracting for the provision of information technology or IT consulting and management services. Our IT team abruptly ended their employment. So we have discussed this and are looking to move to an outside company to manage our IT services. And this is authorizing the use of the competitive contracting or an RFP, which will be prepared and put out for publication by the 15th of this month. Resolution number 123 is a resolution awarding an extension of contract with Republic Services for the provision of solid waste collection in Willingboro Township. We had a 3-year contract with Republic and 2 one-year extensions. We extended it last year, and we're going to ask that we utilize our final extension until we have to go out for a complete rebid, which will be done in November or December of this year. Resolution number 124 is a resolution authorizing the township to increase the not-to-exceed amount for Belia Design, Print and Mail for the provision of print and mail services. This is a company that publishes and mails our calendar, our summer mailer, our winter mailer, and we utilize them for other large publication and mailing services throughout the course of the year. Resolution number 125 is awarding a contract to Level Up Retail Services for the provision of NFC Fitness Court installation services. So the NFC court has been poured, and now we are awarding a contract to Level Up, who will actually come and install all of the equipment related to the fitness court at the JFK Center. Resolution 126, if approved, is granting a social affairs permit and authorizing the township clerk to certify the same. I believe that's to, is it Diamond Dogs? Resolution 127 is a resolution authorizing the Township of Willingboro to award a construction services contract for the improvements of to Buckingham Drive. So these are all of the items being presented to you for your consideration this evening.
All right. All right, thank you for that.
Is Ms. Jackson here? I'll just bring up Ms. Jackson and share the activities that are planned for the residents for.
Oh, yes.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Ms. Jackson.
So we do have a few events as we embrace the month of May. We want to first make sure that our families with children ages 9 to 14 are aware of the Family Nights program series that's beginning next Tuesday at the Kennedy Center. This is a 7-week series held at the Kennedy Center every Tuesday during the month of May and June. It's a free series that includes goal settings, family meetings, and discussions around important topics such as peer pressure, substance abuse, and coping skills. And our families who register will receive $150 for participating. So we want to encourage our families to be a part of that. On Friday, May 9th, The small business owners are invited to How to Grow and Fund Your Business. And this is hosted by Senator Singleton along with our mayor. And this event will be held from 10 a.m. to 2 at the Kennedy Center. Registration is available on our website. And then that same evening, weather permitting, we will kick off our Friday Night Live music series with R&B artist and a local favorite, Diane Starr. And this concert will be held at the amphitheater beginning at 7 p.m. Residents are encouraged to arrive early and reserve a good spot to enjoy the evening. And as a reminder, guests do have to bring their own chairs, and they are welcome to bring their own food and beverages. However, we will have a food truck option or food option at each event. And this Friday, we're planning to have Chick-fil-A in Delran, from Delran on site. So we encourage people, we're excited about our music series this year. So we're hoping that the weather will allow us to have our kickoff event on Friday, May 9th at 7 p.m. And then on Saturday, May 10th, we will host our annual Record Readers in Willingboro. And this event is from 12 to 2. And this will be an opportunity to ask questions about our summer camp and get registered. We do want to remind you that the pool will be opening on Saturday, May 24th, Memorial Day weekend, and it will be open on the weekends from 11 to 5 until daily operations resume or begin in June. On May 26th, we will host our annual Memorial Day observance at 11 a.m. at Mill Creek Park. So we do encourage you to save that date and time as we prepare for that important observance. And then our inaugural Mayor's Golf Classic will be held on Thursday, May 29th. Information regarding foursomes, sponsorships, and scholarships can be found on our website under community events. So, and we do want you to save the date of our Juneteenth celebration, which will be Saturday, June 21st from 12 to 4, which will also be held at Mill Creek Park. So that is all of the events for May and a little bit in June. So, and as always, all that information on our website, Willingboro Weekly, and our social media page. So we look forward to seeing everybody at our future events. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you,
Jackson.
Ms. Jackson. And Ms. Diggs, would you just give the council a brief explanation as to what an uncollectible tax is?
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and the public. Property taxes are considered uncollectible in New Jersey when the taxes are assessed at or either double or erroneously rate rate in error, or when a taxpayer dies.
Okay.
That's it. Simple as that.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Diggs. All right. Those are all the items that we have on the agenda for this evening. We will now go to public comment. This public comment is for agenda items only. So any of the agenda items that you heard explained by Mr. Harris can be spoke on now. You will have 2 minutes. Please come up to the podium or raise your hand online. Public comment is now open.
Testing, testing. George Brown, 103 Evergreen Drive.
Good evening, Mr. Brown.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. My name is George Brown, president of AFSCME Local 327. Council, please focus keenly on the stated goal of Ordinance 2025-6 to establish clear and equitable guidelines for compensation, stipends, benefits, leave policies, and other employment conditions for non-union, unclassified employees and elected officials. Thus, the remaining 5 listed CBA eligible titles not marked with an asterisk are instantly vulnerable, stripped of the due process protections. Public information assistant, a current Local 327 member whose hard-won rights would be removed. Human resource training coordinator, a coordinator level role is currently recognized under our CBA. Registrar of Vital Statistics, an ASME Local 327 title, and its inclusion here violates our contract. Deputy Tax Collector, another Local 327 member facing the loss of labor protections, and Special Event Specialist, a specialist level position akin to those in our CBA. We wholeheartedly appreciate the initial amendment, but what affects one affects all. We merely ask that our listed title be removed and the remaining 4 titles be noted with an asterisk so they too can be eligible for collective bargaining inclusion. Furthermore, we humbly ask that the newly introduced CBA eligible positions be established by ordinance for titles only, and the ordinance's other guidelines not be applied pending CBA negotiations. The ordinance's unilateral conditions significantly conflict with our CBA negotiated terms and will create unnecessary confusion for affected employees. This is why we intend to enter negotiation without further delay to tighten any loose ends affecting the CBA eligible staff. Please carefully consider our appeal and rule accordingly in this critical decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. I see we have one public comment online.
Yes. This is Don Shawless. I'm Don Shawless with the Friends of the Library. I've been researching the Willingboro Public Library and its functions since 2024, when the township introduced a resolution to close the existing library and move a portion of the library to the JFK Center at an undetermined cost to the taxpayers. What I discovered in my research is that the library has been functioning under recession-level funding for the last 15 years, with staffing cuts, reduced wages and benefits, and some degree of neglect by the township, after the big cuts being nickel and dimed every year. The library functions well, given this chronically low level of funding, but could do much more with funding levels we saw in 2009. That said, I do appreciate the township's proposal in the capital budget to invest in carpeting for the existing library. That was well overdue. In the last budget meeting, Mr. Harris said that $52,000 in funding cuts for the library for this fiscal year were because the township was paying for cleaning costs by Pristine Cleaning. I appreciate the work that Pristine is doing, but is the entire $52,000 cut for cleaning? Also, is the township council aware that in 2010, the library's entire cleaning budget was eliminated and was never reinstituted? Finally, I also have a question about the 3 invoices from a LIMO group related to the library relocation that are in the agenda packet. Can you provide detail about these invoices? I've tried to get this information with an open records request, and the township would not provide information. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shawless. Is there any other public comment? We have one in the courtroom.
My hands are up.
Hi, my name is Rosemary Bender. I'm from 132 Pennypacker Drive. My concern is also with the library. Why is the library budget being cut by $52,000? The federal is cutting our budgets too. And that is where the database and the internet and some other things are provided for. By the other additional cuts that we've had, it's going to hinder the library in the services they can give. And they give services to all people of the library, all ages, and they're worthwhile services. This will probably either hit the employees themselves or the programs that are issued, and I really am concerned. Recreation was increased by $83,000. Why? And again, this is a personal comment. I believe that education and library is more important or as equally as important as the recreation budget. Also, the police were decreased. Why are we decreasing police funding? I know I do not understand the budgets completely. I have not looked into it. I've just seen what was online. And I'm very concerned that as part of this township and paying taxes since 1980, that my concerns should be expressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bender. We'll go to Brown online.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for your hard work. I just have one question with ordinance 225-8. What are the capital improvements? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Brown.
Okay.
And we have another online. Were there any more public comments online? Okay. Any more in the courtroom? All right.
Good evening, Madam Council Presiding Officer. All the faces here are new to me besides Mr. Thompson over there. But my concern here is about the budgeting.
Your name and address, please.
My name is James H. Morris, 38 Tipton Lane, Williamboro, New Jersey, 08046.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. You can continue.
And I'm concerned about the crossing guards that crossing your children, that that we work diligently doing us in Williamboro a favor. And public records show that you guys is trying to outsource us to bring in a private company for us to be either transfer or lay off to those. This brings me a great concern when also I'm a taxpayer for over decades in this township. And we said with Mr. Harris, I listened to him when he was giving his updates. He said in his updates that he cooperates with all heads of departments and units, including the police department. But yet he dissolved our boss, and now he's saying to you guys that we don't have leadership, therefore they are going to outsource us. And I find that with deep, deep compassion, and that's not right. So I'm asking the council to please address that, because we are out there from 6:45 in the morning taking care of either your children or your grandchildren, and to treat us like that, I don't think is right. Thank you much.
Thank you, Mr. Morris.
And from now on, I shall be attending all council meetings.
I look forward to seeing you here. Seeing no other public comment is now closed. Mr. Harris, will you start by addressing Mr. Brown's comments on ordinance 2025-10?
So I was listening to what Mr. Brown was saying, and I don't think that his comments regarding that ordinance are reflective of what that ordinance represents. The ordinance provides a mechanism to compensate persons who are not union employees and not included in a collective bargaining agreement. State statute states that all salaries and wages to be paid by a municipality needs to be established in an ordinance or through a collective bargaining agreement. So if persons are not in a collective bargaining agreement, their salaries need to be incorporated into an ordinance, or else there is no mechanism for compensation. So I understand what he is asking for. I we have had this conversation and we have expressed the intention to negotiate with ASME about the inclusion of certain titles into the CBA. And now they want additional titles included in the collective bargaining agreement. And again, those were things that will be discussed at negotiations.
Okay, I think one of the things that Mr. Brown asked was about the Registrar of Vital Statistics. That's still included, but he states that it is located in the ASME agreement.
It is, and as I stated during our last meeting, that we were having the conversation about that, and we will renegotiate or rediscuss with the union, reincorporating that person back into the contract. When there was a transition in employment, we received communications from New Jersey Civil Service that position was no longer covered under civil service. And now there may have been some miscommunication in the title number. So there are several different titles, and looking back, we believe that what civil service was referring to was a registrar of vital statistics for a hospital and not a municipality. So we do believe that probably that title needs to go back under the ASME contract. But again, those will be discussed.
Okay, so would it be fair to add an asterisk next to the Registrar of Vital Statistics?
I thought there was one there already,
No, there's not one present.
and absolutely.
Okay. And the other titles that are, that were stated by Mr. Brown, would it be fair to add asterisks next to those titles?
So one of the titles that he mentioned was I believe the deputy tax collector.
Yes.
There is no title in civil service for a deputy tax collector. So we created that position for that individual, and for them to be promoted and paid in that position, they would need to be under the salary ordinance.
Okay. And the remaining three, the special event specialist, the human resource training coordinator, and the public information assistant.
Again, those are not titles that are incorporated in the collective bargaining agreement with AFSCME. And I do not believe that they are established civil service titles. So therefore, and I believe those were titles that were part of the proposed restructuring. So for those titles to be included, they would need to be included under the salary ordinance.
Okay. If there is some crossover between civil service titles and those titles after we find in negotiations with the union, would those be eligible for inclusion within the collective bargaining agreement?
Absolutely.
So would it be fair to add asterisks to those?
It would not be, because again, they're not civil service titles. They are not union titles. So part of that component is how do you negotiate into a contract a civil service title that is non-existent?
Okay. Any questions from council?
Yes, Madam Mayor. So based on the last meeting, the last conversations, it was to be understood that there would be some form of negotiations taking place, at which time I believe the majority of council thought that it would make more sense to have the negotiations before any final decisions had been made, just to see what would be worked out. Because if we make changes now, and then we have to go back and amend. So to keep it a cleaner process, I was under the impression that negotiations would be had to see if those titles would fit into that negotiation or not.
That was not my understanding, because that is a full-blown union negotiation. That the titles would be part of the negotiation, but it would be much more extensive than just titles.
Well, when I came to your office, you and I had a conversation. And when I explained this or expressed this or reiterated this, you said that, you thought that was a good idea, that we not move so fast but listen to what was coming out of negotiations. Now, it was a conversation you and I had in the office because it was carried over from the council meeting. So I was seeking clarification, just to see, before we made any moves, to see how well or how not so well negotiations went before we made moves forward.
So if I recall the conversation, I believe that's a decision that the governing body is going to need to make. Either you as a council are going to decide to move forward with the salary ordinance or wait until after the negotiation.
No, understood, but I was just reiterating it. So when I had the conversation, you thought that was not a bad idea. So I'm just bringing it back to council. So as this comes before us for a vote, I just wanted to make sure I put on record that there was an opportunity for negotiations before we made a final decision. This way, it didn't look like we were going back and forth in the event we had to amend anything. So I'm just bringing it forth to the council now, just to reiterate those conversations.
So I don't know that I'm fully in line with what you're presenting as what our conversation was, because I don't think that I was agreeing that we would have a negotiation with the union.
What you said was there were negotiations to be scheduled. You thought
Okay.
it wasn't a bad idea. I didn't say you said you agree. You thought it wasn't a bad idea that we try to go through negotiations first to see what comes out of it before any moves were made, because we didn't know what was going to be included, what was going to be excluded. But at least the conversations would be had.
Right, and again, that's a decision that the council is going to.
Okay, I just wanted to reiterate the opportunity for negotiations before this council makes a decision. That's all. Thank you.
And I will say, I've had some extensive conversation with Mr. Harris on this resolution. Part of the challenge is that some of the titles, won't receive increased compensation. They're 2%, increases until the salary ordinance is passed. The cost of living increases.
And Madam Mayor, that's for clarification, that's the non-union title. that you're
Right,
referring
the
to.
non-union titles that are included in the salary ordinance. We have gone back and made the change for a number of the titles, including an asterisk for titles that are not currently included in the collective bargaining agreement, but in negotiations will be negotiated and potentially be included going forward. All right, do we have any other questions on that? All right, moving on to address other public comments. We had a public comment from Mr. Shallis about the decrease in the library budget. Also, Ms. Bender had the same question for that. He also asked about the invoices from Alimo for the library.
So the decrease in the library budget is strictly related to the salary for the person that was employed by the library to clean the library. That is the only decrease in the library budget. So now that is being cleaned by the service company. So some of those monies that were paid the maintenance guy are just being redirected to compensate the cleaning company.
Okay, and that compensation for the cleaning company comes out of the township overall budget?
Correct.
Okay. And the invoices from Alimo?
And I don't know specifically which invoices he is referring to. I would have to go through. I don't know what he's referring to, so I.
Okay,
can't
would
answer the
you
question.
make a note of that and make contact with Mr. Shallis to answer his questions regarding that?
Yes.
Thank you. Also, Ms. Bender asked about the decrease in the police department.
So again, I don't know what Ms. Bender was referring to when she talks about decrease. Our police salary and wages are not decreasing. What we are committing to the police officers as far as equipment, supplies, and things are not decreasing. There may have been some a decrease in a contractual services line. But other than that, I don't know what she's referring to about decreases in the police budget because we are not decreasing the police operating budget. We're not defunding the police.
All right, thank you for that. We also had a question from Ms. Brown about the capital improvements, the capital ordinance 2025-8, and we will discuss that as we move through the meeting, what is included in that.
Correct.
And then also we had a statement from James Morris about the crossing guards. Do you have any response to that, Mr. Harris?
So the crossing guards were correct that there was a presentation. A gentleman came to the council and made a presentation. There have not been any decisions by the governing body to say that, yes, we were going to do that, or no, we were going to do that. It was a presentation. We have had requests from other companies to make similar presentations. But then again, it would be up to the body to determine if this is the best course of action for Willingboro or not. But it was just a presentation. And he made a conversation that we dissolved his boss or something along those, huh? Got rid of the boss.
Mr. Morris?
So you recall, the police used to be housed under IT, or the security used to be housed under IT. And the security department was transferred under the authority of the police department. The police department provided supervisory oversight for the security guards. So there was not a need to have an additional $53,000 security
Continue, Mr. Harris.
crossing guards, I'm sorry. There was not a need to have an additional $53,000 crossing guard on top of the police that were covering the position. So yes, that position was eliminated.
But the duties are still being performed by the police department.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Lieutenant Bankston and Sergeant Hankey are overseeing the crossing guards.
Okay. And as we continue the discussion on the crossing guards, as Mr. Harris said, no decisions have been made as of yet. We are exploring some options, but no decision has been made. This conversation will come back to the governing body for discussion, and I welcome you all to continue your input as we explore options for the crossing guard, but no decisions have been made as of yet. We will have another public comment at after we go through the resolution, so you can come back up then, okay? All right. No problem. All right, moving along. We will now have an ordinance or a proclamation read by Councilwoman McIntosh recognizing Lupus Month.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is a proclamation declaring May as Lupus Awareness Month. Whereas lupus is a chronic, unpredictable, and often misunderstood autoimmune disease that can cause serious damage to virtually any organ or tissue in the body, potentially leading in severe complications or death. And whereas more than 5 million individuals worldwide are affected by the devastating impact of this cruel and mysterious disease. With over 100,000 new diagnoses made each year, predominantly among women of childbearing age, though men and children are also affected. And whereas, despite the severity and widespread nature of lupus, research into its causes and treatments remains significantly underfunded compared to other diseases of similar magnitude and impact. And whereas many healthcare providers lack sufficient awareness of the symptoms and the long-term effects of lupus, often resulting in delayed or inaccurate diagnosis and inadequate treatment for those living with the disease. And whereas there exists a critical and urgent need to support individuals and families impacted by lupus through education, advocacy, and access to comprehensive medical care. And whereas increased awareness of lupus in our community and across the nation and the world is essential to improving early diagnosis, treatment, and quality of life for those affected. And whereas the color purple is recognized as the official color for lupus awareness, and individuals are encouraged to wear purple during the month of May to show support for those affected and to help spread awareness. Now therefore be it resolved that Mayor Samantha E. Whitfield of the Township of Willingboro, on behalf of the governing body and all residents, do hereby proclaim the month of May as Lupus Awareness Month in the Township of Willingboro, and urge all citizens to join in this observance by educating themselves about lupus, supporting those living with the disease, and advocating for the greater research funding and public awareness. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman McIntosh. This proclamation or the observance was sent to us by one of our residents, Ms. Tarina Williams. So thank you, Ms. Williams, for again highlighting the severity of lupus and encouraging all of us to learn more about it. Madam Clerk, we'll go on to our ordinances, and we'll start with ordinance 2025-8.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So for ordinances for introduction tonight, we have one. It is titled, a bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements in and by the Township of Willingboro and the County of Burlington, New Jersey, appropriating $3 million, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $2,850,000 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the costs thereof. Can I get a motion to introduce this ordinance?
So moved.
Second. Moved by Councilman Anderson, seconded by Councilwoman Perone. Discussion.
Can we go into? Okay.
Yeah, so at this time, Mayor, what I would like is for each of the directors from the departments to come and explain what the capital requests are for their particular departments, very briefly, and answer any questions that the body may have related to those acquisitions. So we will start with Mr. Chapman in the Department of Public Works.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Mr. Chapman.
Mayor Whitfield, Councilwoman Perone, Councilwoman McIntosh, Councilman Anderson, and Township Solicitor. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Oh, and general public as well. All right. So for our capital purchases in the Department of Public Works, we're going with a single axle dump truck. The justification for this is this truck is going to replace a 2003, which is used for hauling materials. One of the main salt vehicles that we have. It tows our attenuator, it pulls our leaf vac, and is one of the few trucks that we have that is capable of pushing the 10-foot snowplow. We're going to acquire some salt spreaders, 4. I don't mean 4 in quantity, I mean 4 by capacity, 4 cubic yard salt spreaders to upfit some of the trucks that we already have. We realized with this past snowstorm that we were, I guess you could say, under-equipped from a equipment standpoint to battle these snowstorms. So we want to try to beef that up a little bit. We're looking to acquire a Mason dump truck. The justification for that is replacing a 2005. That hauls materials as well, snow plow, salting. It pulls other equipment we have. It picks up debris around town. These trucks typically have a shelf life of 10 to 15 years, and this is currently 20 years old. We're looking to acquire some hook lift bodies. For those that aren't familiar, we have some hook lift trucks. Is literally how you say a little hook that comes out, grabs the compartment, picks it up, and puts it onto the back of the truck. We're looking to get some of these because currently we haven't been able to use all of our hook lifts to the full potential due to the lack of bodies. We have some hook lifts, but we don't have enough bodies to use them. So, for instance, when we do our appliance collections and all of the big wood hauling, when that hook lift body is used, we're not able to use it for anything else. So we're basically shut down in that parameter. A leaf vacuum. We're looking to acquire this because we currently have a 2001 and it's out of service. The shelf life is around 10 years. This unit is 23 years old, and we're going to be replacing it with a 25-yard leaf vac. Leaves in Willingboro is a big thing. As we can tell, this is a very big community with a lot of trees, so we have a lot of leaf fall, and we're responsible for that. And also, in conjunction with the storm water, we got to get them off the ground. And with the delays that we experienced this past year, I want to try to eliminate that in the future. A chipper BC 1800. That's basically a wood chipper. When we cut the trees down and we have to dispose of it, you can't just have these big logs laying around. And also in conjunction with the PSE&G electrical line clearing, we remove the wood after they chop it down. So we need another chipper to, I guess you could say, pick up that process and eliminate some of these fallen debris and trees that we have all around town. And last but not least, sidewalk and pothole repair. The justification for that is, although we do have a lot of contractual work around town doing sidewalk repair, DPW has undertaken, I guess you could say, a massive effort to try to jump in with infrastructure repair as well. And currently, so far, we have surpassed the infrastructure repairs that we did last year. We've been repairing sidewalks, ripping and replacing. We already rented a sidewalk grinder. So we're actually repairing sidewalks as we can in conjunction with the other sidewalks. We're doing catch basin repairs, and there's a lot of potholes. There's a lot of sidewalks that need repair, and that binder is extensive. And residents, please know, I am working diligently to try to address all the sidewalks that are in the binder that we have. And that's it for my explanation for tonight. Any questions? All righty.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Chapman.
And on top of that, we are including an additional $355,000 for general buildings and grounds improvements around the township. And we're looking to possibly install a 2-vehicle charger, electric charger for electric vehicles in Mill Creek Park. We received a grant 2 years ago. We have some monies left over in that grant that we have to utilize. So we're going to look to tie that in with installing a 2-vehicle charger in Mill Creek Park by the Futura House. So next I'm going to ask Ms. Bolden to come and present the capital request for recreation.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council, and the general public. So for our department, we actually have just 2 items on the capital budget. The first one is a pickup truck. We try to put a lot of things inside our sedan. We transport a lot of equipment to different events and different locations, and it just doesn't work. Some items don't fit, or it's multiple trips. So we're just looking to acquire a pickup truck to help us move our items more effective and efficiently. And the other item is a portable stage. Right now, when we have events on the outside, we use the same stage that we use inside the building. Over time, there's a lot of damage that happens, so we're looking to have a stage that we can just have focused on the outside, and then also will allow us to have additional events outside if we have the portable stage. So that's pretty much it. Any questions? Awesome, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bolden.
Next is Mr. Tunstall for our inspections department. We heard you growing all the way up here.
Good evening, council. All salutations have been given, so I will make mine short and sweet. It's very simple. I'm asking for 2 vehicles. I have 2 new employees. We need those vehicles, obviously, for them to perform their task, their daily task. And I think the third item is just a printer that's going to be replaced. It's well over 12 years old, and I'm running out of Band-Aids for it. That's pretty much it.
Thank you, Mr. Tunstall.
Next, I'm going to ask Chief Burnett to come and present for the fire and EMS services.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and public. I'm here to present the fire and EMS request. So the first item is monies are being set aside for to acquire a new fire truck. This is for a engine, to replace a engine that is dated from 1997, over 20-something years old. Our next items that we are acquiring is 2 additional medical stretchers. We currently have 2 new ones, and then now we need to replace the last 2 for the ambulances. Vehicle extrication tools. This is to replace tools that are over 25 to 28 years old. Vehicle extrication tools are, you may know them as like jaws of life and cutters and stuff, for when someone gets in an accident, we use those tools to pretty much rescue a patient out of a vehicle. Other items that we are replacing is large diameter fire hose. This large diameter fire hose is over 10 years old, so we need a new hose for that. These are the hose that goes from the fire truck to the hydrants. Next is a high-pressure breathing air system, compressor tank refiller. So pretty much that is the air that we manufacture to put into the SCBAs that the firefighters wear on their backs. Our current system is over 30 years old, and that it's hard to find parts to replace that. So that's getting that needs to be replaced. Other items. Other items that we are going to replace is to refurb 2 of the 2010 ambulances. Currently, those 2 ambulances are on a diesel chassis, which has been, back then, diesel was good, but now diesel is not good for chassis for ambulances. So we're going to go over to a gas engine. So pretty much what they'll do there is they'll take the patient compartment body and put them onto new chassis. Pretty much will give us, when it's all said and done, they will repaint everything, and it's pretty much giving us 2 brand new ambulances for almost like the cost of 1. And then we also get a pickup truck. Our current pickup truck is out of service. That needs to be replaced. That one parts, it costs more to repair it than to buy a new one. And then we're going to get a second Lucas device. That is the device that helps the EMTs do CPR. It's an automatic device. When somebody's in cardiac arrest, they apply this to the patient, and then it automatically does chest compressions for them. And that's what our capital projects are.
All right, thank you, Chief Burnett.
And next is Chief Bucks, who will come and present for the police department.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Willingboro residents. First, I just want to say is this podium is spectacular. It's very nice. Couple things we have for our capital expenses or requests is a ballistic vest for our police officers. Our Axon bundle year 3 payment. If you guys recall that we were in a 10-year contract with Axon. In that contract was our police body cameras, our in-car cameras, our tasers, our interview room, and all the upgrades throughout that 10-year period. An additional speed/information trailer. We already have 2. We deploy them on a everyday basis, and this would be a 3rd one that we will be able to deploy throughout the community to be able to monitor speeds and also put messaging out throughout the township. The next one is the final payment on our armored rescue vehicle. And the last one is the replacement of our police patrol vehicles. Looking to replace 3 of our patrol vehicles. And that is it for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Sorry.
Any questions?
Thank you.
And the following categories is 54,000 that's being dedicated to general office furnishings, office equipment, including printers, scanners, shredders, and things like that. And $92,000 for IT service upgrades to incorporate some computers, some laptops, some iPads, and whatever department was scheduled to be refurbished in 2025. So the totality of all of those items equals $3 million. And again, we will be issuing $2,850,000 in bonds for the $3 million in capital projects.
Okay. And also, Mr. Harris, letter F, the improvements to township facilities.
Yes.
Can you just explain what we're doing there?
So that is a general category that we utilize to cover things generally around the municipality. that is going to include the monies to install the carpeting in the library. And pretty much, that's going to be the bulk of that, 189,000.
All right. Does council have any questions on the capital ordinance? All right.
I was just gonna mention a comment. All of the requests seem, pretty, reasonable. So for me, I'm in agreement with the requests that have been presented this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. With those investments, I know we're gonna be doing, some music series at the amphitheater. Is our system up to par?
Yes, last year, I think we spent, what did we spend, Ms. Bolton, $15,000? Yeah, to get an upgraded audio system to accommodate the amphitheater. And this year, we're going to utilize some of last year's capital available to do something with the lighting, because, you know, at night it gets very dark. So we need to find some ground lighting that can kind of brighten up that area.
Thank you.
All right. I'd like to thank all the directors for coming and presenting your capital budgets. I agree with Councilwoman Perone that they're all pretty reasonable. I know that some of our materials are getting older and we need to do upgrades in order to continue to function properly. So thank you for your thoughtfulness and your request, and we will move this to a vote.
Okay. Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman McIntosh,
Yeah.
Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
Thank you. And please note the public hearing for this ordinance will be at our May 20th meeting. And final adoption.
You can continue, Madam Clerk.
All right, and then ordinances for public hearing today is 2025-6, which is our amended ordinance. So can I get a motion and second? This is going to be to accept the amendments for ordinance 6. This came before you guys April 1st and then again at our last meeting, but because there were significant amendments, we need to move forward and accept those amendments, and then we will have another public hearing on this specifically amended ordinance with the changes discussed tonight. So with that being said, can I get a motion and second to accept the amendments to ordinance 6, which is titled Amended Ordinance to Establish Compensation, Benefits, and Other Policies for Non-Union Employees, Unclassified Employees, and Elected Officials of the Township of Willingboro?
Okay, so it's labeled incorrectly in our packet, so it's
no.
2025-10 in our
10.
packet, so
I
it's 6
apologize.
or 10.
It's 6.
Okay.
6, yes. I apologize about that.
Okay, we need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Perone, seconded by Councilman Anderson. Discussion. Councilwoman Perone?
Yes, after reviewing the requests for the different positions and transitionings of different bodies, and having our conversation with Mr. Harris and not having received a reasonable explanation for the moves and for the different title changes, at this time, I'm voting not in favor of this item, especially because it does affect the union. They have expressed their concerns. I don't understand why we cannot wait until negotiations have taken place where we've sat at the table and to make an informed decision on changing titles at this time. So for me, I'm voting this as no. And that's my reason why.
Thank you, Councilwoman Perone. Anyone else? Councilman Anderson.
Just for clarification, there was
Yes.
wording that was being changed?
Yes, so, the first reading in the way beginning, and I don't know the specifics of the job titles, but I know that there were a couple job titles changed. And then we came back, and we added all the asterisks, I believe, and that's where I believe Mr. Harris would be able to give you a more, in-depth answer. But because there were significant changes, we have to motion to accept those amendments.
Okay, so that's all this is, accepting the amendment.
The amendments, yes, 'cause-
Not voting on it, just accepting the amendments.
right.
Voting on the amendment, that's
Voting
it.
to accept
The
the amendment,
amendment,
yes, because
that's it,
I'm gonna
not the
go
ordinance.
and legally advertise those amendments.
Okay, yes,
And then we'll have the public hearing
okay.
At the next meeting.
at the next meeting.
So for clarification, in our packet, the 2025-10 does not say that we're voting to amend anything. This is,
Yeah,
ordinance-
I apologize. I don't know why you don't have the updated one.
So it says ordinance to establish compensation benefits and other policies for non-union employees, unclassified employees, and elected officials for the Township of Willingboro.
Right, so it's just,
You want to see what I have?
yeah,
It's-
I
it's
know
C.
what it says.
Okay.
I apologize about that. When we had our prep meeting, we were going back and forth whether to reintroduce a completely new salary ordinance or going back and just doing the amendments, and we voted on doing the amendments, and I apologize that it didn't make it to your updated packet. If
Okay.
you,
So for me, I'm still voting no, for those, all the reasons that I've stated. And I do recall some of the amendments, and I remember that, well, at least at the last council meeting when we discussed this topic, I did not get a clear answer, to quite a few of the different titles. When I compared some of the titles, I don't have it, in front of me. What are the difference between supervisor and director? And it's, it's a whole, to me, it's messy. And I don't understand what's the race to change it now. So for me, whether amending it or not, it's gonna be a no for me, especially because we don't have the data that you're speaking of in front of me. That's another concern. So that's all, Madam Mayor.
Any other?
Were you able to have your conversations in between?
So there was a meeting, that Mr. Laurie had. I missed that meeting. There was a meeting that took place before, it was an email that was sent. I didn't see it until after the meeting took place. I believe I did ask, did the meeting take place? He said it did. Either, yeah, okay.
So for the record, the day after the council meeting, the last council meeting, I sent an email out to the deputy mayor and Councilwoman Perone requesting a meeting so that we could have the conference that we discussed at the last meeting. Nobody responded to that email until this past Thursday, so we did not have a meeting. I just wanted to correct that for the record.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I did ask him, did the meeting take place? And so he just confirmed it did not. I know that I didn't attend, so I wasn't sure if everybody else did. I just happened to not have seen the email. It's perhaps I probably would have been able to attend. So given that as well, and I do have it in front of me, I asked, what is the division head compared to, we have here, special events, specialists, like, these are positions that I don't understand why we're creating them. The descriptions, I've not seen them. Some other members have seen these descriptions. For me, again, it's a lot going on with this, a lot of confusion. And I appreciate the fact that the union has presented themselves to our council, I believe on two times, and they have a concern. And so therefore, their concern is my concern. And for me, I'm voting no for this, for all of those reasons.
Any other discussion?
I just,
Go ahead.
okay, go ahead.
I just want clarification again, for the titles in question, that are not part of the civil union. We still need this ordinance to move forward so that the people can get paid and the raises that they're supposed to get.
Correct. And just for clarity, to Mr. Lawry's clarification, the meeting did take place. There were no members of the council present at the meeting, but he, myself, and Mr. Holt did have a conversation. And were you there, Ms. Savino? Okay. And we did discuss the elements of this ordinance. The adjustments to the language that were made is for the clerk 1, 2, 3, and 4 positions. We transitioned them from being unclassified to confidential because they would be confidential employees. We added asterisks to the items that are eligible for negotiation underneath the ASME contract, and we included section number 3 under subsection number 3 under section A in the ordinance that reads, positions noted with an asterisk may be eligible for inclusion in a collective bargaining agreement as determined through negotiations with the respective units. So those were the amendments and the changes that were discussed and submitted in regards to this particular ordinance. Now, when it comes to the titles that are being included were the titles that were discussed in part of the restructuring. So again, and this is where Councilman Anderson, where I believe we were having our conversation. I do agree with you that if the council wanted to defer adding those titles in until after the discussion and the reorganization, that would not necessarily be a bad idea. But you have other employees who are eligible for compensation increases as well, which are tied to this ordinance, which we have been working on and trying to move forward for well over a year now.
So
Councilwoman Pearl.
again, I would rather you have the negotiations done first. As far as I'm concerned, everyone in this building that has a job here is being paid. So if we don't give out raises this year, it is because we received a lack of information. So as far as I'm concerned, have the meeting, a real meeting where everyone is present. Because if the deputy mayor wasn't there, if I was not there, then maybe there's been a miss of communication in some format. I did see his email later. So to hold a meeting and still not have bodies of the council where it was requested, and then you're asking us to vote on it so that we can get a raise, so others can get a raise, to me, that's not the most important thing. What is important is that those who have a job receive their check at the end of the week, or whenever it's supposed to. And I believe we are doing that. So if you want to increase salaries, make it make sense, because I'm not in favor of just throwing out money, creating titles of people who don't currently work here, just to give them $90,000 of the taxpayers' dollars that don't live in Willingboro. That's what's more important to me, the people here.
And Councilwoman Perone, just for clarification, it's not unsolicited raises to people's salaries. These increases are the cost of living increases that the ASME employees do get and have already gotten, but the employees included in the salary ordinance have not gotten those cost of living increases like the other employees of the township have already.
Thank you for explaining that, and I do understand that. However, because it's being coupled with meth, this is why we are sitting here combobbled over this whole list of confusion. So I recognize that there are certain salaries that are supposed to receive an increase, of course, the cost of living. I'm not against that. However, I do see titles up here that never existed that are underneath receiving $90,000, $60,000. I see that. I still don't know what a special event specialist is. And does that person currently work here? Are we changing somebody's job? You know, are we moving somebody? I know when we start changing titles and creating positions and giving salaries is because we're playing a game of move the money, give you a job, let's put it all together in one mess. So this way, things that are supposed to happen, like the cost of living, which is, we're in favor of that. And then I don't have explanation like, what is a division head? What is a division head? What does that person do? I have yet to receive, to know who that person is. Is this going to be a new position? Because it's just under range 3. Does somebody do this job currently? But I see that this person could make $63,000 to $98,000. That's all I see on this piece of paper. So, just to be fair, I really would have preferred a meeting. If I didn't see the email, a phone call would have been okay with me, a text message, hey, did you see my email? You know, but it's not your fault that I didn't see it. But again, you want me to be in favor of this without having the information, and I'm not going to do that.
And that's fine, Councilwoman Perone. I don't have any objection to your position. What confuses me is that you say that you are unaware of any of these titles when we've had several meetings discussing the realignment of operations in Willingboro. And again, I thought I was clear in explaining that to move forward with the restructuring, these titles need to be included in the salary ordinance. So there are positions in here that are currently not occupied, and they're not being paid because there's nobody here to fill those positions. But you are establishing the position in the ordinance and setting the salary that's related to that position. Now, if the council chooses not to move forward with the restructuring, that is your decision to do or not to do. But please do not make it look like I am kind of moving rogue and doing all of this without consultation and conversation with the governing body, because we have talked about this. We had executive sessions discussing this. We talked about the divisions, and we've gotten input from most of the body members. And since we've had those discussions, there have been shifts in positions, and we are reevaluating. But again, if you choose not to include those positions in this particular ordinance, I do not necessarily think that is a bad idea. But for you to say that our directors and persons who also work very hard for this township are not entitled to their increases just because, I do not think that is a fair statement for them.
Okay, Mr. Harris, and I do.
And I don't
recall-
wanna
I do recall this
belabor this
conversation,
point.
and I remember that one of the
Councilwoman
council
Perron,
members.
I don't want to belabor this point. I think points were made on both sides, and I'd like to move forward with this. I think all the points have been shared. Councilman Anderson, did you have something?
No, I just, listening to what the clerk says and rereading this ordinance, which is 2025-6 instead of 10, right? Being it doesn't state that it's an amendment or it's amending, I don't want it to get confused with me voting for it.
That's,
So,
that's fair.
now, understand? So the amendment I'm in favor of, but I cannot support the ordinance at this time. I just don't want the confusion because this doesn't have amended on it.
The actual
This-
ordinance,
Right, what I'm looking at doesn't say amended
the agenda.
on the agenda, correct?
Yes, I printed out the correct agendas for you.
May I have a copy, please?
Ordinance in your packet should be the correct ordinance, though, however.
It is the amended ordinance that we received.
I apologize that I just didn't update the agenda. That's my fault.
Oh, it means still a no for me anyway.
That's just the updated
Yeah,
agenda.
it's still going to be a no for me because the amendments, still, there's no explanation. You did meet with Tiffany Worthy, Mr. Harris. You've had meetings with one council member about changing this.
Not true.
Yes, you did.
Not true.
You had meetings
No,
with one
Councilwoman
True.
Perron,
and I was
we,
invited to
Councilwoman
attend
Perron,
the meeting, which
Councilwoman
never
Perron.
happened with me.
Councilwoman
So-
Perron.
True.
Yeah.
Not
I just
true.
want to get us back on track,
I'm
please.
talking about the
Council-
amendment that we received now. So I recall.
This is an amendment to the agenda. The ordinance that we have in our packet is the correct agenda. The amendments that, Mr. Harris and Mr. Holt were speaking of are the ones that we discussed at the last council meeting, adding the asterisks, making those notations for the positions that will be included in the negotiations, as well as removing the positions that were already included in the collective bargaining agreement.
Right, and that's what I was saying. Now that I've received this document that says 6 with the amendments still go against the fact that you've not sat down with the union to discuss positions, titles. I've not received job descriptions. You've met with another council member, not me.
But Ms.
So that's
Perron,
what I'm saying. With
but
the amendment,
Councilwoman Perron, that,
I mean.
that meeting was requested, and you
That
stated
never
that you
happened.
didn't,
I would never.
you
have-
stated that you didn't see the email, so
No.
you weren't present.
He said the
but-
meeting did take place. The
Right,
council
and I
members
said,
went.
and I said it was requested, you requested it at the last meeting. The invitation was sent out for that meeting, you didn't see it or receive it. They did talk with the attorney to make the
Right.
amendments that were discussed at that meeting, and this is what is presented in front of us.
Exactly, so
Uh,
that's what I'm speaking about, the amendments that the township manager and the solicitor met with. Neither one of them are voting members. So what I'm saying is, if you actually cared about a voting member, which
But-
I'm one of those people, then I felt like a phone call should have taken place.
But
because this should
Councilwoman
have been
Perron,
that
those were
important.
amendments that we directed them to make at the last meeting.
I never agreed to the amendments. I
Yep.
know what you're talking, so I said, those amendments is still against to what I'm speaking about. What is division head? Can you answer that question at least, Mr. Harris? One title on here. Describe to me what is a division head?
It is a head of a division.
What do they do? Please be,
They-
you're an intelligent man. Please
they-
be descriptive.
They oversee a division.
Which division? You see, now watch how silly this conversation gets.
No, the conversation isn't going to,
No,
the
please
conversation
just
isn't,
answer it, Mr. Never mind.
conversation
Let's
is,
just
the
focus.
conversation isn't going to be silly, because once again, if you look on your agenda, there is a section for, restructuring ordinances,
Wow. Mr.
where,
Harris,
where we have,
he doesn't know what a division head is. I asked you the description, job description for division head, and you said they division.
And-
Like, come on.
And those division heads were discussed
If-
previously in
That's right.
meetings.
I wanted to
so
know
And
Mayor,
we-
if you will,
right now.
if you will allow me, I will go and get the ordinance,
No,
and
we
I will
don't
bring
need to do
the,
that. This is too late. We already, it's almost 10 o'clock at night, and honestly, I feel like that's only one position on here that doesn't make sense. Come on, let's just, we can move forward. I don't want to belabor it. You're the mayor, so.
Thank you.
Can I make one request, though? Can we establish a date and time where all of the members of the governing body are willing to sit and discuss this, so we can get a concise document that will suit everyone, so the other people that are affected by this ordinance can get their compensation as well? Because again, we have been trying to get the salary ordinance put through for over a year, and it's back and forth and introduced and paused. And again, and there are other persons that I believe are entitled to raises as well.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. As we close this discussion, it's up to each individual council member. As I said before, this ordinance is an amendment to the ordinance that was presented at the last meeting, with notes from the union. I do want to see, the existing employees be compensated for their hard work here in the township. But this is not the end, this is not the final adoption for this ordinance. There will be another opportunity at the next council meeting to discuss. And in the interim, if there's any unclarity of position titles or descriptions, I encourage each council member to set a meeting with Mr. Harris and Mr. Laurie to get those questions answered before the next council meeting, as to not hold this up any further. Madam Clerk, please call the vote.
No.
Sorry. Councilman Anderson,
No.
Deputy Mayor no, Councilwoman McIntosh,
Yeah.
Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
Thank you.
So how does that work if it's 2 and 2?
It fails.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just wanted you to say it for the record for the people. All right. So
Please continue.
All right, so we have our, next up on the agenda, we have the 2025 budget, public hearing. This will include, resolution 2025-115, which, basically this resolution is just, stating that we have complied with all the state regulations to read the title by public, title only. So can I get a motion second for this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Perone, seconded by Councilwoman McIntosh.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman McIntosh,
Yes.
Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Harris, would you like to introduce the public hearing, or would you? Okay. So can I get a motion and a second to open the public hearing for the 2025 municipal budget?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Perone, seconded by Councilwoman McIntosh.
Thank you. Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman McIntosh,
Yes.
Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
Thank you. The public hearing is now open. Please come up to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
This public hearing is for the introduction of the 2025 municipal budget.
Okay, I'm, excuse me, my name's Kathy Painter. I live at 44 Myrtlewood Lane. I've been there for 44 years, so I've had a lot invested in this community. What I wanted to know is the decision to privatize the guards a decision that has to be made before I know it's May 31st, you have to do the budget?
Yeah.
Does that have to be considered before the budget is complete?
Mr. Harris, no, I don't think we have to make that decision before the budget is complete. We've still included the compensation for all of the crossing guards in this year's budget.
Okay. I've been a guard for 30 years. I've been an assistant supervisor under Shirley Whitlock, Cynthia Peaker, and Patty Thompson. I am presently holding our unit together with the other guards by being known as the guard clerk. I do all the work of a supervisor without hiring, firing, or discipline, and without the benefits. I do payroll. I'm on call from 5:30 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, and I fill the posts that are empty and all the paperwork relating to the guards. Our unit is a proud unit which has been respected in our community and surrounding communities for our dedication, professional attire, and abilities. Our unit is over 50 years old, and we have worked for the children and the residents of Willingboro faithfully and with honor for all those years. I was told that you are considering privatizing, this was online, our unit because we are a burden to the police department and not necessarily to save money. Our unit ran without any problems when it had a supervisor. I have 4 guards retire within this school year that have not been replaced. Since I am the only one to cover post, I cannot do all the posts that need to be covered. It has only been in the last 5 months that I have asked Sergeant Hankey to have an officer cover a post. What I do is if we're supposed to have 3 guards at a post, I'm pulling one of them. If you're supposed to have 2 guards at a post, I'm pulling one of them. So it's a danger to the post that is, or the guard that is left. I am also the trainer of the new guards in basic training. I've had train the trainer 2 times and have 2 guards that have taken the training to do advanced training, which is at lights, things like that. I looked online, what qualifications does Crossing Guard Services provide? They don't say. I have checked their website and they will give the guards just what the state mandates. Vest, stop sign, lighted one, and an ID. I would love to take all of you out to one of our posts and let you go out in the street with just a stop sign and a vest at 6:30 in the morning and see if you can get the cars to stop. We're wearing an ANSI-colored yellow coat, and we still have people that almost hit us because our guards are trained in defensive movements that say to the guard, "Oh, we didn't see you. We look like a giant banana. There's no way they can't see us," but they say they don't.
Ma'am, your time
If you
is up.
feel safe with just a vest and a stop sign, then
Ma'am.
what we're doing is not what will be done.
Thank you.
Ma'am.
Well, this is, I allowed it because we are talking about the budget. It's not included in this budget, we do have the payment for the crossing guards included.
I only
in
have
this
two more
budget.
things to say.
But your time is up, Ms. Painter. You can come up at the second public comment. We will have another public comment and you'll have 4 minutes
Okay. It was
Okay.
only for 2 minutes?
for this public hearing.
Okay, when online it says 4 minutes?
That's at the public comment at the end.
This
Okay.
was 4 minutes.
Everyone gets 4 minutes. Thank you.
You did get 4.
Oh, you had 4 minutes.
Yeah.
It was at 4 minutes for this one?
Yeah.
Okay. But you are entitled to another 4 minutes at the final public comment. Any other public comment on the municipal budget for 2025? Yes, it's public hearing. As long as it's about the budget. Okay.
Budget. Rosemary Bender, Pennypacker Drive. My question still is, where's the 52,000? You had said that it was the cleaning services. The cleaning services was taken out of the library budget in 2012. So that is according to the
But the
library.
gentleman that's,
Mr. Harris, hold on, let her finish.
That's according to the library, and I just spoke to the people. The other thing is, you asked me about the police. On the website that says operating expenses, and it has the police here, and it says a decrease of $86,000. So I just don't know what I'm missing. And the other thing is you never said why recreation is getting 83.5 thousand more. I'd really like to know, because I would rather it go to the library. And if I'm misreading the police, I apologize, but it's right here on your website that I downloaded that it's 86,000 the police are losing. That's all I have to say.
Thank you,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Bender. Any other anyone else for this public hearing?
Hi, good evening. Jada Jackson, 83 Tidewater Lane. I have a couple of questions. One, I thought the library was being moved, and I was wondering how that relates to putting new carpet in that building if they're relocating. The other is the justification to the township for moving positions from classified to something other classified. When will that get to the township? And does that decision have to be made by the end of May?
And you're speaking of the classified clerks that are included in the salary?
All of the positions that are looking to be reclassified, I understand that it's more than just the clerks, it's several departments within the township that are looking to be reclassified or restructured from being classified
Oh, okay.
into unclassified, which
Thank you.
interrupts your union status.
All right, thank
Right.
you.
Oh, and can I give one plug for the crossing guards? I live across from a school, and I've seen, I'm not gonna cry, but I've seen those ladies do things that I'm not even sure I would do for my own kid. I just want to say that. The people who don't pay attention in the morning, who are angry about having a job, who are trying to, I don't know what they're doing, drinking coffee, screaming at somebody. I have seen them step in front of cars. Step into the cars so they do not hit our kids. And I'm not sure someone who doesn't live here, who does not worship here, who's not part of the community is willing to do that for a paycheck. I just want to say that. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. All right. If there's no more for the public hearing, this public hearing is now closed. Mr. Harris, I know we spoke about the 52,000 for the library. Ms. Bender, as was stated before, there was a maintenance person at the library. No, they also had a custodial service previously. The township has taken on that custodial service in 2012, the custodial service, yes. Yes, but this $52,000, they also had a maintenance person, who was doing work at the library, and those operations are now being supplemented by the township. Is that correct?
Yes,
Mr. Harris, can you just confirm that?
yes, that's exactly correct.
Okay. Is there anything else included in that $52,000?
There is nothing else included in that 52,000.
Okay, and then maybe Chief Bucks can answer for the police budget. Is there anything that we're not seeing there?
Diggs is right here.
Ms. Diggs? Someone?
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Mr. Solicitor, residents of Willingboro. The 2025 budget was worked hard on. The budget we have presented is a flat budget. Every department head was consulted, every department head worked along with the township manager, deputy township manager, and also with me as the CFO. So every allotment, every appropriations for every department has been approved, satisfied by every department head or department director, I would say. Thank you. That I would say.
Okay, and just for the police, I'll take a head nod. Chief Bucks, do you think your budget is sufficient for this year? Thank you. Okay, I will just address again, the council and administration has worked very diligently to present another flat budget this year. The requests were fulfilled, most of the requests were fulfilled to each department. And one of the things that we took into consideration is the raise in taxes that will be coming from the school board. There was a bond referendum that was passed, and as the council, we worked very diligently to try to keep taxes on the municipal side flat, so that there would not be devastating increases to our residents. Is there anything else that any other council member would like to say? Yep, Mike. Councilwoman McIntosh.
Another point that Ms. Spender had said, she was wondering about the increase to recreation.
Thank you. Mr. Harris, the
So
increase to recreation.
I'm sorry, Mayor, I didn't bring the budget document, so I don't know what line item or the overall budget increased. So I just can't really quantify or explain what the line items were that received the increase. I don't have the budget document in front of me.
Okay. I would like to give Ms. Bender an answer for that. Would this be helpful?
Is that it?
Thank you. And while Ms. Diggs is looking for that recreation increase, we are in the process of exploring the library moving to the JFK Center. The amount that was included in the capital budget for a carpet for the library, the township does own that library building. So regardless if the library moves or not, that carpet would need to be replaced.
Madam Mayor. I thought I recalled when we had this discussion, that library discussion about moving was taken off and off the table until further discussion. I remember Deputy Mayor was the liaison there, and I think they were going back to discuss, but that was removed. I think what was stayed on was whether or not it would be governed by the county.
No, the county came off, the movement stayed on.
So the movement stayed on, the county came off.
Yes.
Oh.
Ms.
Okay.
Diggs?
So the recreation budget was only increased by $6,500. The total allocation for 2025 for the recreation department is 80,800, opposed to what it was last year at 74,300. It did not increase by 80,000. It increased by $6,500. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Diggs. All right, any other questions? All right, that public hearing is closed. And we'll continue on with the agenda. I guess we'll go to resolution 2025-116.
We have to vote on? We're not gonna vote. Oh, because it's just a hearing? We don't have to vote on it?
Yeah, it was just a hearing, right?
Yes, so that was just this hearing, resolution, 2025-116 would be to finally adopt the budget. I can read that one if you'd like, and then we can proceed with the consent agenda, if you'd like. Up to you.
Is that okay? Is that okay with them? Yeah, we'll pull for the consent. Okay,
Or we can,
let's do 116 first.
so resolution 2025-116, resolution to, finally adopt the final adoption for the 2025 municipal budget. Can I get a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Perone, seconded by Councilman Anderson. Roll call?
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman McIntosh, Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
Thank you.
For the remainder of the agenda, I'll ask for any exclusions from a consent agenda from the council. Can you say that one more time? 126. Any other exclusions? All right. None being said, I'll ask for a consent agenda for resolution 2025-117 through 2025-115 and resolution 2025-127.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Perone, seconded by Councilman Anderson. Roll call?
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman McIntosh.
Yes.
Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ask for a motion to accept the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Perone, seconded by Councilman Anderson. Roll call?
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman McIntosh.
Yes.
Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution 2025-126, please.
All right, so resolutions for separate discussions tonight, we only have one. It's resolution 2025-126, titled Resolution Granting a Social Affairs Permit and Authorizing the Township Clerk to certify the same application. This resolution specifically is for a social affairs permit for Diamond Dogs on the weekend of March 18th and 19th. May. March has passed. Sorry.
May 17th and. I think it's 17th and 18th.
Yes, that weekend.
May 17th and 18th. All right, I need a motion. A second?
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman McIntosh, seconded by Councilwoman Perone. Discussion.
This permit that we received, is it complete? I'm reading it, it doesn't seem complete for us to make a decision on.
That is what we receive from the ABC. That questionnaire, if that's what you're looking at. that questionnaire and that little drawing of the map that they make, that is all we are provided from the ABC. They submit it through, it's called Posse. And we get it, the clerk, and it goes to the police department. The police signs off on the safety side, and then I take it to our municipal issuing authority, which is the governing body, but that's all the information we get in the application.
There was some additional information provided in your packets. Just some additional information about the resolution and the ask. Any other discussion?
Yes.
Councilman Anderson?
In looking at email communication that came out this week from the township manager, taking that into consideration, I'm not sure if everyone has seen that. But at this time, based on that information, based on this request, I cannot support it.
Any other discussion?
And did we receive, and maybe I'm looking right at,
Mhm.
did we receive, any feedback from the police? I don't think I have.
The only thing I get from the police, again, it gets sent to us separately, and maybe Chief Bucks can come up and speak. The only thing I get is what's on that application. So where it says endorse by the police department, that's what I get from them.
Oh, it does say, okay.
But if you want more of an in-depth thought process, I'm sure Chief could come up and explain. And the correspondence was sent to you guys that Councilman Anderson is talking about.
Okay.
That's in your
Okay, got
packets
that.
as well.
All right, thank you.
Any other discussion? There be none, roll call?
Councilwoman Perone,
No.
Councilman Anderson,
No.
Councilwoman McIntosh,
No.
Mayor Whitfield.
No.
Thank you. Would you like me to move on to the treasurer's report?
Yes, please.
So we do have a treasurer's report. It was dated as of April 25th, 2025. Can I get a motion and second to approve the treasurer's report?
So moved.
Second.
It's moved by Councilman Anderson, seconded by Councilwoman Perone.
Councilwoman.
Roll call?
Sorry. Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman McIntosh,
Yes.
Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
Thank you. For minutes this evening, you were provided with the minutes from our two budget hearings, which is April 11th and April 30th, as well as our regular council meeting of April 15th. Can I get a motion and a second to approve these minutes?
So moved?
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Perone, seconded by Councilman Anderson.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman McIntosh,
Yes.
Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, your updates, please.
Thank you. All right, so a couple things tonight. Our primary election is coming up closer and closer. Here's your biannual or bi-monthly reminder of important dates. Deadlines to register to vote is May 20th. Deadline to apply for vote by mail ballot through the mail is June 3rd. Deadline to apply for vote by mail ballot in person at the county office is 3 p.m. by June 9th. Early voting is at the library from June 3rd through June 8th, and then election day is Tuesday, June 10th from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. at all of our polling locations. I did work with communications. They made a really awesome poster with some great information on it, as well as the county released a QR code to a YouTube video that explains how to work the machines. If anyone feels like they want to get more comfortable and more confident on the voting machines, that is a resource for you. All of that information is out on the back, as well as applications for vote by mail and voter registration applications. Moving on, we have 3 companies licensed to solicit in town right now. Allied Expert has 2 people. Home Solutions has 1 person, and Green Exterior Solutions has 1 person. We also have a nonprofit license from the Fruit of Islam, so they are around soliciting, but they also get the same no-knock list of people not to go to. Just a heads up, we did get an influx of complaints of one company coming around that was soliciting without permits. We have made contact with them and we did make them come in to get permits. We had 11 people come one day and get permits, so that is pending right now. And they have, from my knowledge, we haven't heard anything else, so they should be on track. But they're pending. I had my quarterly strategic meeting for my office with the mayor and deputy mayor yesterday. I'm happy to announce that we're on track with all of our SMART goals and big initiatives. I'm going to have an updated report for you guys by the end of the week. I'll send you out kind of everything we talked about. And then my final big update is our files are finally ready to be digitized. I want to give a huge shout out to my deputy, Miss Scott. She really did some exceptional work over the last month, kind of just diving in and pushing to make sure all these files were prepped and ready. With that being said, the office is ready for Fovionics. That's the company we discussed to come in and complete phase 1 of the digitization project. We're not going to go over the number that was approved by Ms. Stiggs for this year. However, we did try and condense the files to get as much done as we could. I'm hoping to get my office and then our archive downstairs done. And I'm hoping to start that project by the beginning of June. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Any
Madam Mayor.
questions for the clerk? There be none, we'll go on to unfinished business. Councilman Anderson, do you have an update on the golf outing?
Yes, so here's the update on the inaugural, Willingboro's inaugural Mayor's Golf Classic. We have solidified sponsorships from Alimo Associates in the amount of 5,000, Panoni Associates, 5,000, Bowman and Company, 1,000, McMinimum, Scotland and Bowman, 1,625, for a total of 12,625. We have committed sponsorships from PSE&G for 1,500, Bobby Duckett Entertainment, 4,000, Mr. Aaron Davis, 4,000, Zeller and Willisco, 4,000, which will total 4,500. Those checks are being mailed in. We just hadn't received them. So that's why they're listed as committed. We had 30 golfers, 30 paid golfers who signed up. That was at $3,750. We have 12 golfers who committed but didn't pay. That amount is $1,500. We are also reaching out to the local businesses to sponsor a hole and have your company on the side of a golf course. So that's a cost of $150. So I'll be reaching out to the local businesses for $150 to have you out there for advertisement. So far, Educating Kids Consulting, the Honorable Nat Anderson, Kish Creation, Seafood Haven, Barbers Inc., paid already and that's a total of $750. So we have, as of today, we have raised, and this is without the $1,500 of committed sponsors, we've raised $21,625. Our expenses for this event are estimated to be about $15,000. Then based on this amount, we have to give the nonprofit that we're working with, Nunu Foundation, 10%. Their administrative cost of $21,662.50, which leaves us about $17,165. So that balance at this point is $4,460, which would be allocated towards scholarships. So as we continue, I think we're looking at taking in about another $5,000 or $6,000. Okay, because with the rest of the golfers at a number of 72, that's another 4,000. Plus there are other commitments such as RMV, who put in requests, and some other companies. And not to mention Pepsi. They gave us 2 coupons for 2 12-packs of Pepsi. All right, so we want to throw that in. We want to throw that in, but that's the report for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Anderson. All right. So thank you for that update. I'm confident that we'll be able to give out a number of scholarships to our students here in Willingboro to prepare them for the next step in their journey. Thank you for all your hard work, Mr. Anderson, for your work on this project. All right, under new business included in your packet, as we are continuing with the restructure ordinances, there are some revised restructure ordinances included within your packet for your review. They won't be discussed tonight, but I did want you to have them so that you can review them for discussion for the next meeting. If you have any questions between now and the next meeting, please feel free to reach out to myself, Deputy Mayor Worthy, or Mr. Harris, or Mr. Lowry, to get those questions answered before our next meeting so that we can all be prepared and ready for the discussion. Also, we will have an executive session tonight. One of the items for executive session is the potential development on 4284 US Route 130, also known as the Burlington County Times property. We will be discussing a plan that has been brought to us and get some thoughts from the council on if they like the plan or not. Okay. With that, I believe we are on to public comment.
Madam Mayor.
Madam Mayor.
Yes.
I just had one item for new
Councilman
business.
Anderson.
Since we renamed the Sportsman Field to the Miss Lizzie Mae Morris Field, that day I did speak to the manager to see what the possibility of was doing a township softball game with the employees, fire and police, to do some sort of a cookout this summer. So I just want to put it out there for consideration.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Anderson.
Councilman Anderson, I think I also remember when we did the ribbon cutting then, I think one of the, I forget who mentioned it, but it was something you thought of to have like a friendly township softball game between, I think it was departments or communities.
That's what
That's what I just
I
mentioned.
thought you, I only heard you say barbecue.
Oh,
I
yeah,
guess
yeah,
it-
I'm sorry. Yes, that's what I
Okay.
just mentioned.
Okay, okay.
Okay. All right, and now we are at public comment. This public comment is for all items. You will have 4 minutes. Please come up to the podium or raise your hand online. Public comment is now open. Okay. Good evening again, Mr. Brown.
Good evening, George Brown, 103 Evergreen Drive. Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members, and township administration. My name is George Brown, President of ASME Local 327. I stand before you tonight, not as an opponent, but as a partner committed to building and fostering the harmonious relations that underpin every successful organization. Just as a point of clarification, please note that all admin positions outside of executive or confidential titles are customarily covered by ASME and entitled to all rights and privileges, including retro pay and increases. No compensation will be lost for any of the positions we have identified as CBA eligible, not a cent. Over the past months, we have faced difficult conversations and spirited discussions. We've challenged proposed ordinances and pressed for clarity on classifications and due project protections. Yet through it all, one truth remains. Our collective bargaining units provide the fuel that powers the township's engine, which is a safe, secure, and confident workforce. Without that fuel, no organization, no community, and no municipality can truly thrive. I'm confident that the council shares this belief. I see your vision for hope and prosperity, an administration that attracts and retains talented employees, that treats every worker with respect and settles disputes fairly and quickly so we can focus on serving the public. We are one in the same in that regard. In that spirit, I must raise a recent concern. A newly posted Director of Recreation job description omits experience as a substitute for education, an allowance that is standard across the Civil Service Commission landscape. This sends the wrong message to our workforce and risks alienating someone with a wealth of hands-on knowledge and expertise. Eliminating worthy candidates based on technicalities such as this could be to the detriment of the township and the very programs our recreation team delivers. Tonight, I ask for your continued leadership and intervention to help us move forward. We stand ready to begin CBA negotiations as soon as possible to resolve any outstanding issues, to tighten up the language governing CBA eligible titles, and to align our collectively bargained agreement with the township's strategic goals. Your leadership and commitment to ensuring a fair and timely process will be vital. We have weathered storms before: labor challenges, restructuring debates, contractual disputes, healthcare insurance crisis. Yet time and again, we have persevered, working side by side, consulting in good faith, respecting each other's roles, and ultimately finding solutions that serve both the public interest and the dignity of our workforce. Let us carry that spirit forward. Let us recommit to the principles of mutual respect, open communication, and shared purpose. When our employees feel secure in their jobs, confident in their rights, and valued by their employer, they deliver the highest quality services to our residents. Council, your collaboration matters. Your commitment to timely negotiations matters. Together, we can transform today's challenges into tomorrow's successes, fueling an engine that carries Willingboro into a future of growth, stability, and shared prosperity. Thank you for your time, your service, and your leadership. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
I guess I get to finish. Okay, my name again is Kathy Painter. One of the things I wanted to clarify that Your Honor said was that this gentleman just came and did a proposal, and that's all that it was. But we have heard, of course, through the grapevine, that this gentleman has talked to police officers, has given them information about how they would run the guards, and we would really like it if we were told before any contract with them were signed that you could please notify the CWA and let them know if this is going to happen, that we can make our decisions of what we're going to do. We are all, almost all of us, live in Willingboro. There's only a few that don't, and they had just, when they retired, moved into a over 50 retirement place. So it really will impact everyone that is here and ones that couldn't be here for any reason. In conclusion, I feel if you give us back our supervisor, who did not have that large of a salary, and replace the guards who have retired or resigned, we will continue to be a self-sufficient unit that we have been for this community for over 50 years. And I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Painter.
Yeah, I do. That's me at the Duckies. Hi, my name's Kathleen Temperio Adams. I'm from 60 Princeton Lane. Hello.
Can you say your name one more time?
Kathleen Temperio Adams.
Temperio Adams?
T. Temperio.
Temperio, okay,
From,
thank you.
Yes. Hello, members of Willingboro Council. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Kathleen Temperio Adams. I have a college degree in police administration. I'm a licensed New Jersey fire official, have Pro Board firefighter certification for 42 years, held EMT for 38 years. So as you can see, I am a trained professional, but I choose to be a Willingboro crossing guard. It is not just a job. I have a vested interest. And I have been employed with Willingboro Crossing Guard for 11 years. My post is at the intersection of JFK and Charleston Road across from the Willingboro Fire Company. Perhaps you have seen me waving to the motorists with my partner, Carl Jones, working on this corner. It's a very busy intersection with the fire company, rescue squad coming and going, and other emergency traffic going to the hospital at times. And then let's add to the mix the regular vehicle traffic, not to forget the student pedestrians. This intersection has students going to Willingboro High School, Memorial School, and Hawthorne. For hours are 0645 to 8:50 in the morning and 14:15 to 1600 in the afternoon. in all sorts of weather, thunderstorms, snow, extreme heat, cold, we are there, ready to cross the students. Now we are told there's an outside contractor that may be taking over the crossing guards. Will they have the same intestinal fortitude that the seasoned Willenboro crossing guards do? Will they wait for the student that is coming late because that elementary school student had to get himself up, dress himself, feed himself, and then make his way to school by himself, or leave when the time is post is ended? Or will they remain? Or will they come in a little earlier without pay to make sure the student gets to the school early for breakfast or a class trip? It takes a village to raise a child. The Willenboro Crossing Guards are part of that village. We have watched the students grow and move from one school to another. We take an interest in the students, saying to each other, have a magnanimous day. What is your project about? Don't you look nice today? And my favorite is when a student makes honor roll. Woohoo! We may not know what the student's home life is like, but we make sure that we're always glad to see them no matter what. I recently had a student drive past my post to say we really made his day. He's now in college, engaged, but he remembers us fondly. The Willenboro Crossing Guards are part of the safe route to school and then back to school, back home. We challenge any vehicle that stops for a student. Do you know this person? Are you allowed in this car? We know the area, we live here, we work here, we report suspicious activities. We make sure that the area is safe for the students. We pick up trash, glass, and other paraphernalia in the area. One of the crossing guards had called in a gas leak at Hawthorne Park early one morning. The residents were unaware of the problem, but PSC&G and the Willenboro Fire Company responded quickly to rectify the situation. This is what we do. My partner is a basketball coach. He knows the students and interacts with them, discussing details of plays, professional players, and just good conversation. Other crossing guards have given out gloves and hats to students who didn't have them or lost them, and we even tie shoes. Again, we are there for the students. I have on a few occasions had a parent who couldn't walk their elementary school child all the way to school because of their work schedule. We have assured the parent that if they walk the student to the end of the section, we will see the student, watch the student, cross them safely at that intersection, making sure that that student makes their way to the next crossing guard, who will then cross that student and make sure the student makes it up to Hampshire Lane to Hawthorne Elementary School. Will the outside contractor do the same? Will they even care? Will they have the background checks? Will they have to do physicals? In the event of emergency and or school closure, will the outside contractor be there at a drop of a hat? Will they, or we will and have done so, or will they do it for extra pay? The outside contractor may cost less than us, but it's middle management who are benefiting, not the students of Willenboro. So remember, a crossing guard is a person in your neighborhood. We're the people who you meet. We're walking down the street each day. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Samperio Adams.
I grew up on Pickwick Lane, went to school here in town.
Can you have your name and address, please?
Gray Hood,
Gray Hood, okay. Thank you.
formerly of Pickwick Lane. Okay, I went to school in this town. What you're looking at here behind me is the A team of crossing guards, the best trained, if not in the state, in this county. Now, when something happens to a student, what are you going to do? Because God's not going to like any of you.
Thank you, Mr. Hood.
Again, I'm James Morris from 38 Tipton Lane, Willenboro, New Jersey. I'm a member of Local 1036, as you can see, sitting behind me. All supporters, let's get our council people a great hand here. Because the mayor, she makes a good parliamentarian. Thank you for your service. It's self-evident here that all council people have heard that what the crossing guard support this community. We are part of this conference, and we don't see it fit for you all to just dash us away like that. When we sat down with Mr. Harris at the beginning of our contract, we had a fair negotiation with him, and it was only decent if he wanted to trade us or get rid of us to call our union and let them know in advance. But did he do that? No. But during his presentation, he called every department head to give an account of the activities and the job that they do under him. but he did not call the Williamboro Crossing Guard to give an account that is under Mr. Harris, their jobs. So we are asking, Madam Mayor, is self-evidence. You all have seen it right here. Mr. Anderson, all we asking to leave us alone and give us a fair shot. God bless you and save this state.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Whoever's next can come up to the podium.
Okay, hi. The crossing guards are probably the most popular.
Name and address, please.
Joy Green, 62 Palfrey Lane, you know who
Thank
I
you.
am, okay? They're probably the most popular people in the entire town, and they're probably the ones that are in the most unsafe position in the town. I work here all day long, outside in other municipalities, but in this one, starting from the time between 2 and maybe 6 p.m., and even when they're out there later than that, okay, people are running through the intersections, they're not stopping. They rev up their cars way past that point. Today, at 3 p.m., when I was going through the Corpus Christi intersection there, a car revved up way past me, and I'm already stopped, and went way past through the light. So if you get somebody from the outside, they're not going to be worried about when they stop, when they start. They're not even going to understand what's going on in the town. So as everybody begins to eliminate people that have been here in what I call hands-on experience, clinical experience, or whatever, you really need that. Because otherwise, nobody's going to understand what's going on in the town. Some of the streets don't have stop signs, and as this new influx where New York City's being dumped in on us, for years, and I've been here since 1965, you just stop at each corner, you stop, you wait, whatever. These people don't stop, they don't wait, they don't care, and so who's going to take this on, except the people who are already here? The other thing is, since I've been here since 1965, the Willingboro Library was at the Willingboro Plaza, then it was here, then it went back to the plaza, now it's going somewhere else. When we voted against moving the library over to the plaza because of the expense and the cost, we were ignored. Now there's another expense and another cost. It doesn't mean we don't want the library. When we got a library, it's what it's costing us every single time when we have to do something. The other thing is, when these investors come here and they empty out these houses after they've been here, and I talked to Mr. Harris about this before, they need to exterminate these houses before they dismantle them. The hornets, the roaches, the rats, everything are exiting out of these houses and coming into our homes. It's costing us hundreds of dollars to fix this stuff. And that's the truth of the matter. So that is very, very important. The other thing is, with the police department helping with PSE&G and everything else that they have to do, I don't even know if they have enough people in this town to manage what's going on. The other thing is, with all these people coming in from New York and all these other boroughs of New York here, they're on the outside of this town and they're on the inside of this town. What I want to know is, where is the sewage going and where's the water coming from? Because there's no sewage plant outside, on Springside Road for all those buildings that are there. Is this our water? Is this our sewage? Or is it just being dumped somewhere? Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Grace.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Renee Bruton from 41 Beaverdale Lane. This is my first council meeting, but it definitely will not be my last. I've only been here since 2021, and I am definitely impressed with the crossing guards now. I only came here to hear about more so the issues that I have with garbage. And since I heard about the privatizing of the crossing guards, I'm truly disappointed if that is truly a possibility. I'm understanding that it may not be a possibility, but I'm here just to advocate for them now. When I first got here, the township privatized, I believe, the trash, and I've had issues ever since, including still waiting almost 2 years for an extra garbage can that I'm willing to pay for, but I'm still on the waiting list. So I was more so concerned about that, but hearing this, if it is at all possible, where is the discussion and can there be a discussion for the community? Because safety is first for our children. I personally don't have any children, but it takes a village and these are all our children. They're gonna grow up and hopefully be a part of the community and we wanna protect them with our people here who love Willingboro just as much as we do. That's all I have. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Bruton.
Hi, Jada Jackson, 83 Tyler Lane. So I rise again with the question that I raised earlier that we didn't get a chance to answer, which is the restructuring in relation to the end of May deadline and the pending budget. What is the relationship between them, if there is one? And I guess another question is, I'm assuming that the budget accounts for the COLA increases that are due for people, regardless of whether or not that is voted on by the May deadline. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
And I will go again for the crossing guards. I would hope that the council considers the current situation that we're in now, and that the number of children who may be coming to school sooner for free breakfast may be increasing. I know of crossing guards who come in early and stay late. And I just had a conversation with a coworker about how if that crossing guard was not there, when would someone know that that kid didn't make it to school? Would someone know that kid didn't make it to school? And I think that when we think about our community and our community needs and the space that we're in right now, having people who care about them, who look them in the face in the morning and say good morning and make sure they respond back and make sure that they make it to school. And when they come that first day without a nice coat, the second day they get one, is worth more than what can be reflected in a line item of a budget. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
Yes, greetings. William Weston, 44 Bosworth Lane. I do want to say thank you for the crossing guards. I see they're underappreciated. I know I didn't appreciate them as much as everything they do, but I am here for the first. I looked in the agenda and there's a fitness court, and I did come a little late today. I'm not sure where that's going to be at, but it looked like a good thing, and I may have missed any announcement about it. And also, I just want to talk about the permit process. I've, I guess through anecdotal, and some of the residents has, I guess, communicated with me that our process is a little longer than other communities, and I was wondering if we could look at that and perhaps make it a little more efficient. And that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weston.
Name is Odell Albert, 40 Glenview Lane, Willingboro, New Jersey, 08046. I am a crossing guard. My position is at Van Sciver and Veterans Parkway. I have the middle school students who they're in middle school, but they believe they're adults. It's one thing that these people behind me, they actually go out and in the morning, in the rain, in the snow, in the heat, almost like a mailman, we deliver. We deliver each and every day that we're on the job. But the key to it is we're also part of the community. We live in Willingboro. We have a vested interest in these children in Willingboro. We see these kids when they start from the elementary to the high school. They get to know us, we get to know them, okay? That's something that a privatized company will not give you, because if they change in people, what do they care? They're getting a paycheck. They have no vested interest in this school environment. We get to know the principals, we get to know the teachers, we get to know the students. And we look out for these students each and every day. I'm on one of the most dangerous streets in this township. We have cars going 60, 70, 80 miles an hour, constantly running the lights. We step out there in front of those cars for these children and allow them to get back and forth across the street. But because we have a vested interest in the community in Willingboro, that's not something you're going to get from an outside vendor each and every day. Every day.
Thank you, Mr. Albert.
Good evening. My name is Adam Liebtag. I am the president of CWA Local 1036, proudly representing the crossing guards that are behind me, but are also behind you, and are behind your children and your neighbors' children and behind this community. Obviously, we are extremely disappointed to have heard that the council and the mayor entertained a vendor to come in and talk about privatizing crossing guard services. And we're here tonight to say to you, don't go down that road, and put a nail in it right now and say you're not interested in any other vendors coming in and pitching you their business to privatize crossing guard services. You can make that decision and direct your business administrator to entertain no other vendors and keep the quality service that you have now. You've heard from the guards themselves. They can describe what they do every day much better than I can, but I think you feel it. And I think that you have to understand that government's not a business. Government is there to provide public service. And I can't think of a better public service or a better cost-benefit public service than the crossing guards. This is part of your obligation to provide public safety and provide a safe haven for children getting to school. And they do this very well. This is your obligation. This isn't something that you should look at as a line item in the budget, but also let's be real about it. Crossing guards are hourly employees. They don't work all year long. They're paid very little. They put a hell of a lot of heart and commitment into their job. You're not going to get that from a private company that might rotate the guard of the day or the guard of the week on any particular corner and don't have a commitment to the community. Privatization is going to cost you more in the long run and is going to cost you in credibility with the community. It's going to cost you in what you lose by losing the folks behind me. So don't be disloyal to the residents. Don't be disloyal to your long-serving crossing guards. Do the right thing and realize what you have and that you want to keep it. Now look, you have a hard job. You passed the budget tonight. We're actually trying to save you some time by saying stop the nonsense and don't entertain any other vendors coming in. But you rely on your professionals to give you the best advice possible. We represent 50 contracts and 8,800 people around the state. I go to a lot of public meetings. There was a statement at the beginning of the first public hearing, first public comment period, that the public information assistant title is not civil service. It is. There are two title codes, 02923, 54452. I also am the Burlington County Central Labor Council president. So for my AFSCME brothers and sisters, I'm going to tell you that by not passing that ordinance tonight, you avoided an unfair labor practice. Congratulations. You didn't get the right advice. You can also represent non-civil service titles in the same collective bargaining agreement. Doesn't matter if you're civil service or non-civil service. If you're part of the unit, you're part of the unit, and you can be bargained for and included in a contract. Titles like the ones you talked about tonight are stipended or functional titles. You can represent those in the collective bargaining agreement. So I'm concerned that if you're not getting that quality, accurate, timely, and complete information about other things, or for example, the police budget, which on sheet 15, I did the same thing this young lady did in the audience. Sheet 15, you reduce the other expense line by $86,100, which is a 15% reduction from last year. Again, in the first public comment period, the statement was, we didn't reduce the police budget. There clearly is a reduction. And that's not counting the $24,000 in ARPA money that you're not putting in 2025, which makes sense because that money's gone. But there was a reduction. So your statements that you rely on, they have to be complete, they have to be accurate. So take our word for it, because we've been doing the job this long. You have a incredible, I know, you have an incredible resource here. Use it and keep it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any public comment online?
My name is Don Shawless with the Friends of the Library. For Mr. Harris, the invoices that I mentioned from Alima Group about the library relocation are on the bottom of page 117 and the top of page 118 of the agenda packet. This is contract number 2400022. The total for the invoices is $6,447.50. What we do know is that a library relocation would result in a minimum 60% reduction in space. What we don't know is how important areas like the children's library, teen and adult room, free meeting spaces for community members, and the history room would be included in such a small 2-story space. What spaces and resources will be lost, and whether the library will be accessible to all. We still have no idea how much it would cost to construct the new library and move its resources so that the library meets ALA and ADA standards, as well as state and federal laws. That's after 3 years of planning behind the scenes, first with Pannoni, and then with Alimo Group, with little substantive communication between the two engineering firms and library staff and the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shawless.
Good evening, Mary
evening, Ms.
Mallory on Hudson Place. And I would like to begin by thanking Sergeant Hankey and Officer Landrum for their security and assistance at the used book sale that was sponsored on April the 19th by Friends of the Library. We definitely appreciate Sergeant Hankey and his effort to make sure that we had security for the duration of the book sale. One thing that was notable was that on the day of the book sale, I think the temperature outside was in the 70s, and the heat in there was maybe bringing the temperature to 90 degrees. So I hope that we have resolved the issue with having the heat on in the library at this time. We often hear the word flat budget, and unless I misinterpreted the definition of a flat budget means that there is no increase in the budget year after year. And I was late getting on the meeting, so I'm not sure that I missed something, but I'm not sure that we are operating on what's called a flat budget. But anyway, moving on, because I always seem to run out of time. The other thing is we're talking about privatizing for the crossing guards. And I'm not sure that if we're going to save money, is it worth it at the expense of our children? And of course, I cross the intersection of Charleston and Kennedy Way almost every day. And I can attest to the fact that the young lady and the gentleman that are on that post, they are doing their job more than 100% in trying to control the traffic, because Kennedy Way has become a very fast moving traffic lane for whatever reason. People are speeding and it's really crazy. The other thing is the crossing guards, according to the report that was given by the lady, I don't recall her name, all but maybe 2 or 3 of them are taxpayers. So my question is, if we privatize will they be eligible to apply for a job to continue as a crossing guard? Because after all, they are taxpayers, and I think they should be given a priority in that regard. Let's see. The other thing I wanted to know is, what is the anticipated amount to be given to each student for this scholarship from the golf tournament? And I think that concludes my comments for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mallory. Ms. Williams? Ms. Williams, if you're speaking, we can't hear you. You're still muted.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you for being patient with me. Good evening, Mayor Whitfield, Councilwoman McIntosh, Councilwoman Perron, Councilman Anderson, Township Manager, Clerk, and fellow citizens. I want to thank you for highlighting Lupus Awareness Month, because as you may or may not know, one of my children has lupus. And so making the community aware of ways that they could be helpful to alleviate the suffering from, this illness is very commendable. I appreciate you. We have a wonderful township council who cares about Willingboro. And as I saw them intently listening to the presentation of our guards, school crossing guards, I'm sure they'll do the right thing by you. You made a good presentation to why you should keep your job. And from living here for over 40 years, I can attest to the wonderful job that our school crossing guards have done over the years. Speaking of rewarding people for their jobs, I would love to hear somebody extol the virtue of Gwen Calder Lane, who works for the township. She is excellent at her job. She works so hard, and I would love to hear somebody say she's getting a raise as well. For Lupus Awareness Day, my daughter and I attended a lupus workshop, and the cardiologist who made a presentation about how lupus affects the heart or vice versa. He was so knowledgeable that Tarina asked him, would he be willing to do a presentation for the Willingboro Township, sponsored by the Willingboro Seventh-day Adventist Church, and he has kindly consented. He's very knowledgeable, and I'm extending the invitation to everyone within the sound of my voice, beginning with our wonderful township council. And it's being held on Zoom on the 13th of May from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Come with your questions. Dr. Wingfield, you will not be disappointed. And I'm not saying this because he's not even a member of our church. He's just somebody who his expertise is parallel to many. And, he gives up his time to share the knowledge that he has. So I'm hoping that you will attend. Thank you so much for the job that is done for our community. And may God continue to bless you as you work for the betterment of our community. Kudos to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Williams.
You're welcome, Mayor.
Good evening, Mayor Whitfield, Councilwoman McIntosh, Councilwoman Perone, Councilman Anderson, Township Manager Harris, Township Clerk Savino, and fellow residents. I want to first say happy belated National Firefighters Day. Thank you so much for your dedicated service and sacrifice. May God richly bless you and your family. Second, I wanted to say thank you very much, Mayor Whitfield, for today's proclamation. It means a lot to me because I myself have lupus and was diagnosed with this in 2001. And really appreciate it and enjoy spreading awareness. So thank you very much for the integral part that you play in helping to spread awareness, not only to our township, but to their family and other people who are listening to this council meeting or will watch it at a later time. Yesterday was National Lupus Summit, and today taking place at Washington, D.C. And today was Lupus Virtual Advocacy Day, where people were encouraged to contact members of Congress to help spread awareness and be that voice that we need to help them learn about lupus if they don't already know, and to hear the cares of people who have lupus or have family members that have lupus. And look how today you made this proclamation. Like I said, I can't say it enough. Thank you very much. My mom already mentioned the workshop, which I encourage people to please attend. If you go on Facebook and type in Tarina Williams, it'll be on my page. I have a cover photo that talks about lupus, and I'll also personally reach out to Ms. Jackson, and if possible, please include that in this week's report. That's what it's called, but it's really appreciated. We are able to keep up to date with what's going on in Willingboro through the newsletter, as well as the daily updates that we are able to view. Thank you so much, Ms. Jackson. This Saturday coming will be a special day for many reasons. One of them is that it's World Lupus Day. So encourage and would appreciate as many people who can wear purple in honor of lupus, help spread awareness and post pictures, hashtag World Lupus Day. Wish I could see how much time I have left, but I too join in encouraging that we support and keep our own local crossing guards. They're play an integral part in keeping the community safe, but I'm sure there are children and youth out there that look forward to seeing Mr. So-and-so or Mrs. So-and-so and telling them how they did on their exam, or they could have a sad face going up to school, but then because of that encouraging word, they feel better, or they want to share how they did on this and that. So as much as possible, we should stay consistent with the men and women of our own community that help to keep our Willingboro great. I think that's it, but thank you very, very much for all the work that you do, everyone. May is also Mental Health Week, Mental Health Awareness and Older
fine.
American. Appreciate
Ms.
it.
Williams, that's
Thank you very
time.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you. God bless.
Thank you, Ms. Williams.
Thank you as well, Mayor Whitfield. You're welcome.
All right, seeing no other public comment, public comment is now closed. Before we start to address the public comments, I'll ask council for a motion to extend the meeting to 10:30. We have an ordinance that dictates our meeting should end at 10 unless expressly noted by the council. So I'll entertain a motion for extension.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Anderson, seconded by Councilwoman McIntosh. Roll call.
Councilwoman Prone,
Yes.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman McIntosh.
Yes.
Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
Thank you.
And to address public comments, we'll start, or I will start with the crossing guards. Thank you, Ms. Painter, Ms. Temporano Adams, Mr. Hood, Mr. Morris, and Mr. Albert for coming up. Also, thank you, Mr. Liptig, for coming to support the crossing guards. And I'll just say again, one of the things the council does is to explore options. We asked our administrator to bring us some options, and he did that. With you all here, I think it is a testament to the work that you do, how much you care about your jobs. And for the record, one of the questions that we did ask during that presentation was if any of our current crossing guards would lose their positions or things like that. I think it's a real testament to the passion that you have for this work in our community by you all coming here tonight. I know some of you from even my childhood. I know Miss Painter was my old Girl Scout leader a long time ago. So I appreciate you all coming, and I think your message was well received, well heard, and we will work with the township manager to do what we can to better the situation without outsourcing that. And I'll say that for me as one council member, but we'll also have a chance to hear from the other council members. Also, Mr. Brown, thank you for your comments. I, for one, am committed to working with the union on negotiations and getting those started sooner rather than later. Our motive is not to remove any positions, but we do want to make sure that everyone is compensated fairly in the interim as we make those decisions. So we will continue to work with the union on the salary ordinance as well, or I guess receive feedback from the union on the salary ordinance as the council moves to continue to serve our employees in the best way that we know how. All right. Miss Grace, you asked about the library relocation. We did have two discussions regarding the library when we talked about it before. We talked about moving the library to the county system as well as a relocation. We declined to join with the county library system, but we did decide to explore what a relocation would look like. And I believe that may be what those alignment invoices are for, just a concept drawings for what the potential could be. The discussions will still be had with the subcommittee that was formed with the library, as well as some of our council members, to forward what that possibility is. As I said, no decisions have been made as of yet, but we are exploring the option. I also had a comment about extermination. Mr. Harris, are there any ordinances or anything about extermination before renovations or building?
I don't believe so. Mr. Tunstall is here, but I do not believe there is a requirement for a home to be exterminated before it is remodeled.
Okay. I think that's something that we'll look into. I know we have been having a number of pest problems due to development in our surrounding areas. That is difficult to control because we can't control the development that's happening around us. But we will do our best to explore what we can do as a legislative body. Also about the water and sewage, the water and sewage from some of the surrounding development, depending on where it comes from, it may be under our Willingboro Municipal Utilities Authority. They are a separate governing body than the Township Council. So any questions that you have for the MUA can be directed to them. Ms. Bruton, you asked about the garbage issue. We are renewing our trash contract this year, but we are working with a consultant to right size the contract for the needs of Willingboro Township. Previously, we had to sign a new contract, and this is what we ended up with, but we are looking to make some changes in the contract so that it better fits the families of Willingboro. If you have questions about your trash can or request that was made, you can direct those to Mr. Harris's office and he'll be able to help you with that. The Mr. Weston and the fitness court. The fitness court will be located near the track by JFK. You'll see a concrete slab that has been poured, and the fitness court will go up in that location. So in case you missed that. Also, you discussed the permit process review. A number of our permit processes are in review, including our mercantile, any licensing processes that are done in the clerk's office, as well as our inspections and zoning department. The processes and how those permits are issued is under review, and hopefully we'll be making some improvements to those processes so that they can be delivered in a timely fashion. We also had Mr. Shallis. I addressed the Alimo invoices for the library. Miss Mallory, she had a question for Mr. Anderson about anticipated scholarship amounts.
So right now, until all the dollars are totaled up, the scholarship will not be less than 500 each student, but based on the number of students that apply that meet the criteria of the scholarship could increase. So example, if we raise 8,000 for scholarships, and let's say there's 4 kids that apply, we can always increase that amount at that time, but it will not be less than $500.
Okay, and to date, Mr. Anderson, do you know how many scholarship applications you received?
I saw one the other day come in because we had to extend the deadline. I do know we re-advertised with some of the churches and so forth, but the last I saw was just one which popped up the other day.
So I'll encourage everyone in the community, if you have any students in Willingboro that are graduating seniors or looking to go into a trade or on to college, the next step in their journey, we are looking for scholarship applicants. I know some of our students, I've heard that they have some trepidation about applying for scholarships because they may not get them, but you can tell them that they definitely won't get them if they don't apply. So encourage the youth that you see, especially because we have all of our crossing guards here today. Any of those students that you see that may be eligible for scholarships, please encourage them to apply. And then we had Mrs. Williams and Miss Williams talk about lupus. We did the proclamation tonight, and also Miss Williams noted that the passing of National Firefighters Day. We support our firefighters tremendously and appreciate all the work that they do in our township. So thank you to Chief Burnett and his entire staff for all of the work they do to keep Willingboro safe every day. Is there anything that I missed? Yes. Thank you. I did have that. Ms. Jackson, the restructure, it does not have to be done by the end of May. It is something that we're still exploring and reworking, but it is not mandated to do before we pass the budget. All right. And with that, we'll move on to council comment.
Well, if nobody's going to go,
Councilman
I'll just
Anderson.
jump right in. I just want to thank everyone for coming out this evening. Thank you for those online. It was amazing to see the support of the crossing guards. Yes, we had a presentation, just for a point of information. There have been no decisions made. But since you guys have come out, I've heard the heartfelt pleas, and it resonated even harder. Lucky for you guys, it's an election year for me. So I'll let you know, I cannot support this. I cannot support this. Also, as far as the ASME unions, I appreciate you guys coming in as well. Appreciate the comments of it's a partnership. It's not us against you. And like I said, we're only as good as the information that we're giving. So hoping through negotiations, we can come to a happy median. But until that time, I personally cannot support moving it forward until I know we're all on one accord. Because if it's something that we want, you don't get, morale and everything else is going to be low, and vice versa. So I just want it where it's a happy medium, because we still have to continue to be efficient. It can't be union employees against non-union. I'm already getting text messages, okay? I'm already getting text messages, but I'm sitting here to vote on, make decisions on what's right, what's best for the environment, and what works equally for everybody. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you, Councilman Anderson. Councilwoman Perot? Councilwoman McIntyre.
I share the same sentiment as Councilman Anderson. I did have in my notes, I definitely appreciate the union, and I appreciate the acknowledgement that we are working together. I appreciate that statement. On multiple times you said it. I do, even with the tension, I think our priority remains optimal customer service for our residents who pay the bills. We manage it up here a little bit, but definitely I think we do share that priority. So I appreciate the continued communication, the continued information in the packet that you give so that we can further read it. So I just wanted to acknowledge that even though it's not so straightforward and easy, I think we're going to work in the right direction, definitely. I gotta give a special shout out to our crossing guards. I am a product of Willingboro, kindergarten through through 12th grade. So I can definitely attest to the fact of the nurturing and the commitment of our crossing guards. I'm a little disheartened to hear of the dangers. Even though you're willing to do it, I don't think it's right that you have to endure that. So I would like to see a little bit more, maybe, and I don't know if it's police presence or not. I know we're doing our traffic units, but my neighbor is a crossing guard, and I do hear the horror stories from Memorial specifically of people running the lights and putting our crossing guards in danger. That's not fair. I don't think that's part of the job description. Even though I appreciate you doing it for the children, maybe we need to set something in place that we can kind of calm the traffic. But I am here as again, nurtured by our crossing guards from K through 12. I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming out today in masses to remind us of that. We have a lot of things that are going on, a lot of things that we're trying to consider. So this is the beauty of local government, that you can come, in your town and speak to the officials face to face. So you did your job today, and I definitely appreciate it. Thank you.
Councilwoman Brown.
Thank you. And I agree with both comments that I've spoken. When it comes to our governance, we have our township manager, and he brings ideas to us. So this idea of the crossing guards, I don't know if we ever discussed this, but he brought it to our attention. This is what he thinks. We see a presentation, either voted up or voted down. So your participation by attending and letting us know your concerns, your thoughts, helps us make a decision. So, and not to bash him in any kind of way, he's making ideas, and sometimes it's good for the community, and sometimes maybe it's not. So please always definitely participate in these meetings. If you hear something, say something, come here, let us know, and we will individually make our own individual thoughts on the concerns and what's best for the community. I agree with Councilwoman McIntosh with regards to the dangers. I know that there have been recent speeding traffic signals placed in certain locations. So perhaps maybe, Mr. Harris, if we can look into the high traffic areas of where maybe the crossing guards are experiencing the most during these times, to help the flashing of a person's speed to slow down before they even get to the corner where the crossing guard is. Maybe just a suggestion of looking into where these high traffic areas are could possibly help. With regards to the unions, again, I'm always encouraging conversation, sit-down meetings. And I will speak to that to the end. I feel that there should be a sit-down meeting with the union before we make any decisions on changing and non-union and union. And I'm not in favor of that type of behavior. And again, I am one sitting councilwoman, and if I requested a meeting to better understand your decisions, Mr. Harris, or your thought process, I feel that every avenue should have taken place to make sure that there was a meeting before today. And one person is not singularly a decision maker of the community, of this council. And I understand that that's why a lot of these changes that are happening is coming from one council member. And I think that needs to not happen. And when we all sit together and have a discussion, we make a better informed decision. But so just want to put that out there, but that's all I have for this evening. And I do thank all the participation from the communities coming out to letting us know your thoughts and your concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Brown. All right. I do want to again thank both unions, CWA and the ASME union, for coming out tonight. As was stated before, you help us to inform our decisions, and I won't disparage any of the ideas that Mr. Harris brings to us. He brings us a number of ideas. Many of them are really great ideas that are really beneficial to the township, but they are always presented to us for consideration. And this is one that, is probably likely going to be taken off the table. So I want to thank you all for your participation. I encourage you to continue to stay engaged, continue to participate. Your feedback on any and all of these issues is greatly appreciated, and we really do try to answer as many of the questions that you have. Also, if you have any suggestions on things that we could do better, or something that you're seeing around town that you'd like to see different or anything like that, you can always share those things with us as well. And we do everything that we can to make Willingboro the best place to be. Also, I had a couple other notes. Here they I do want to thank DPW for all of their hard work. On May 3rd, we had the community cleanup. The Girl Scouts showed out in force to make sure our community was clean. And we also had a few residents come out. It wasn't as much participation as I'd like to see, but we did have a good turnout. We were able to give away 2 mulching lawnmowers and 2 counter composters to people that participated, and all of those community cleanup efforts are covered by our Clean Communities grant. So I just want to thank DPW for all of their hard work and the residents that felt it not robbery to come out and help to keep Willingboro clean. Also, thank you DPW for all of the flower planting and mulching that was done on our major roadways. I think it's a imperative thing to keep the beauty of our township and the pops of color on those roadways. I know they bring a smile to my face, and I hope they're doing the same for our residents. Thank you to the Recreation Department. On April 27th, they had the Phenomenal Woman Awards. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend, but I did want to thank them for all of their hard work and putting that event together. And congratulations to all of the awardees that received awards that day. This community runs on woman power, as you can see up here. so we appreciate and support all the women in our township. And happy early Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Also, a thank you to Miss Scott in the Township Clerk's office. She is a new employee of ours, but jumped right in and helped us with a major digitization initiative. So thank you for all of your hard work. And again, I want to thank Mr. Harris and the administrative team for all of their hard work on the budget. I know we had lengthy discussion on some of the budget inclusions tonight, but we really are working as hard as we can. For years, I know we've heard, taxes keep going up, but services aren't going up. And we've been doing our best to increase services while optimizing the budget. I think this may be the cap for that. So next year, we may see something different, but this year we were able to continue on with the good work that we've been doing and move this township forward in the right direction. And with that said, we do have executive session tonight. It will be about 20 minutes. And I will move for that resolution.
Thank you.
There won't be any votes afterwards.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So with that being said, resolution 2025-128, resolution authorizing a closed executive session in accordance with the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act. This will be for contractual matters, contractual and personnel matters. Can I get a motion in a second?
So moved.
As well as attorney-client privilege. Can I get a motion in a second?
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Perone, seconded by Councilman Anderson. Roll call?
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilman Anderson,
Yes.
Councilwoman McIntosh. Mayor Whitfield.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I didn't try to sway him. I just wanted to hear what he had to say. Yeah, no, I appreciate it, because otherwise we would, just kept going, same thing would happen. But yeah, we have to get that information out, but
Can I get a motion to come out of executive session?
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman McIntosh, seconded by Councilman Anderson. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And I'd like to entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Anderson, seconded by Councilwoman Perone. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The time is now 10:27, Madam Clerk. Good night, everyone.